did was I looked at the website, found a link to YouTube with a video clip, so I started watching it, and suddenly everyone's listening to D.B. King coming through my speakers back to the computer. It's embarrassing, but that's the kind of experience that you'll have if you start to think globally, or even if you think locally and you help other people, you'll be engaging with people around the world. Now we're all a very technically literate audience, so I don't want to tell you all of the websites and things maybe point out some useful ones, but the main thing I wanted to say is explain some of the ways you can use these things and possibilities. So the best thing that happened recently is Skype. I mean, who uses Skype? It's amazing. I mean, before Skype, like when I was from Australia, again, calling international was something we did once a year, called relatives in Europe for Christmas. And Australia is not necessarily a global country, but calls to anywhere else in the world were ridiculously expensive. A 20-minute call to the Netherlands to call my grandparents was about $40 to $50. Now it's about €1 to use Skype, or if you have a person that uses Skype as well, it's free. So, back in 2002, we had the benefit of being supported by NASA, who provided this telecom service for us. Now we're empowered to do it ourselves, and we can hold meetings anytime we want. As Jim talked about before, yesterday, that's not necessarily always a good thing. Random holding meetings, I'll get to that shortly, but that's something that's empowered us and allowed us to move on. So, even though you all go back to your separate countries, everybody is still that close. You can talk to anybody, anytime. Now, one of the big problems is time zones, and yes, we can also test on I studied mathematics for 5 years, so I can't count. And the hardest thing for me is working out 1 GMT plus 9 GMT minus 2 screws away physically. It's daylight saving, but it's an extremely hard thing for me to do. And to actually coordinate telephone calls where people are awake or where they're not at work or where they're able to access the phone is quite challenging. So this is a very specific thing. I don't want to cover too many specifics, but it's a good example of just an extremely minor challenge that you'll face. And when you leave this conference, you'll go home, you'll be tired, you'll have family you haven't seen for a week or two. If you live in the United States, Thanksgiving, Christmas. And if you try and organise a meeting, you catch up on your work for this conference, and you find that you're using MSN for a chat meeting and it crashes, then you reschedule for the next day and it crashes, and 7 of the 10 people can't make it. These are all challenges that you have to face, you have to learn to adapt and deal with them. So even though we've all used these things, we probably haven't used them in the way that, that you probably don't have a lot of experience using them in such a global manner all the time. So it can be quite challenging, even for us, when we have 10 years of accumulated experience, that every time there's a challenge.
Chris?
Yeah?
Could I make a comment?
Yeah, sure.
You remember when we were planning for the SGC in Fukuoka, we had some teleconferences in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
And at that time I was working at Accenture, it's the world's largest consultancy company, and they exist in, I think, 100 countries or something like that. And after I had some of these telephone conferences, it occurred to me that I was the only one in my whole department who had this kind of intercultural experience, like having a chat with 10 people. And it's funny that I was in that kind of workplace, and I was the only one who had this experience, and I got it through SGC and through my company. And so just by participating in this kind of work, I got some skills and experiences, not through the outcome of the work, but just by participating in the process. That was a really giving experience.
Jim, that's what you were saying. Jim, yesterday, right? One of the good things about this is that even though it might seem hard, one of the big benefits is something you can put on your CV, or if you go into a job interview or something in the future, you can actually say you've done this kind of stuff, and if you've got experience with it, because probably they haven't, or they need somebody who knows that. And so it's a very good experience for whatever you're contributing, whether it's a self-motivated entrepreneur who you want to do, or whether you want to work in a company or government. It's all very good experience. So as we mentioned many times, we can work 24 hours a day, and I think Jim mentioned as well, it's great when you write a document, you go to sleep, you wake up, there's a new draft thing for people to work on. So it's almost like there's 5 of you that don't need to sleep.
those kind of people together and to implement something worthwhile, interesting, that everyone can agree on, and that is valuable for future space exploration and future space generations, I think is very difficult, but very interesting.
So, no offense to my fellow Australians, but one of the things I learned out of going to this event every year is how to speak English. So, Vic pointed out yesterday, I still have a little way to go.
I didn't say that.
In the United States, my Australian accent used to be so bad I couldn't even order a Coke in a restaurant. I'm in